Fairweather Manor is a Larp set in 1914 at a great English estate. It's inspired by TV series such as Downton Abbey, Upstairs, Downstairs, and the lives of servants and nobles in the beginning of the 20th century. At Fairweather Manor, 140 people gather to play nobles, servants, and guests at the Duke of Somerset's 60th birthday. We sometimes jokingly tell each other that this is supposed to feel like 10 episodes of Downton Abbey crammed into one weekend. Whether it gets that feel or not, well, that's up to the participants to find out, but that at least is one of our goals. The reason we chose to do Fairweather Manor is the same reason that people watch TV shows about this period. It's 100 years old, but this whole feeling of being part of a great house, whether you're a servant or a noble or just a guest, there's something amazing about that, and we wanted to try to recreate that. Not as a historical simulation, but as a kind of historical-ish drama. Getting to do a Larp at a location as amazing as this is magnificent. From the outside, it looks amazing, and once you get inside, it gets even better.
I think the Larp is going to be, hopefully, a very small-paced, that will be the smaller things, just in the words. And I mean, we have this beautiful castle, this location, and it will really add to it.
It's amazing. There's so many rooms I haven't seen yet, and well, we could just the one we're sitting in now, the trophy room. It's where the men gather before the ball in their tailcoats and everything, and talk about important men stuff. And there are lots of trophies on the walls. There are drinks. There are everything. We even have a gramophone, which sounded horrible. And the location is beyond anything. It just makes playing so much easier because you are totally immersed at all times. So yeah, I'm blown away.
My reason to create this game was to fulfill a dream of making this place alive again, filling it with the servants and nobles, the artists and politicians, all the important people who used to live in manors like this. Since this place used to belong to my family, and it is like bringing some of their memory to life again.
One of our core design ideas has been that this should not just be a Larp about being at a fantastic place. It should also be a Larp about experiencing activities at a fantastic place. So all the time there's a lot of stuff going on. There are Croquis lessons in the drawing room. There's political discussions in the trophy room. There are speeches. There is a hunting trip. The American showed off his vintage car. There's a lot of interesting things happening. And not only do you get to play, hopefully, interesting characters, you also get to experience interesting events.
At Fairweather Manor we have 150 characters. You are not yourself at a LARP. You're playing someone else. It's like play pretend. You get costumes and you get a character which has personality traits and a background history which you use to navigate through this wonderful castle and finding out your place in this game.
I will be playing Baron Wilhelm Friedrich von Herbst-Sonnenburg. I am an old man, the head of the family, of the German branch of the family. I have 5 children, a daughter and 4 sons, and I am very traditional and conservative and strict.
He just married this very, very young woman. This is me. I'm Jadwiga, or now Hedwig von Herbst-Sonnenburg, 24 years old, young baroness.
Yes, and married. I'm 57.
Yeah.
The finest Riesling wines from our estates. These are just a sample of 6 bottles, but there are in the cellar 100 bottles waiting.
My character is a pretty hideous person. His name is Christopher Fairweather, and he's the head of the French branch of the family. He is mean, he's twisted, and he's a manipulative person.
At this LARP, I did not want to play an upstairs character, so I thought being a maid could be really interesting. I'm gonna play a really new maid called Jane. She's very, very young. She's only 17. But her mother used to work here before and was Lady Fairweather's personal maid. So she managed to get her into the castle. And she looks a lot like her mother, so Lady Fairweather thinks she is her mother from time to time and have raised her to lady's maid like this. And that will not be appreciated downstairs. But she's also secretly very much in love with the main butler, who is very, very old and very correct. And he is in love with her, but they will never be able to do anything about it. So it will just be small looks over polishing shoes and nothing else.
Before the Fairweather Manor, I have been responsible for preparing costumes for costume rental. In order to do this, we had to make a big research. It was not only about the historical value of the costumes, it was also about the characters people will be playing. For example, we had to see how the bird keeper looked like, what were the characteristics of this costume. We went through the sources like historical books, fashion magazines, scientific works on the history. We also watched a lot of movies, like the Upstairs, Downstairs and Downton Abbey, of course. The whole team consists of 3 people. Me, Linka, and my mother, who is a professional tailor. She has been making costumes and clothes for 20 years right now, so her experience was a great value to this project and made things much easier to work on. We tried to make as many costumes as possible by ourselves, but it turned out to be impossible because there were so many of them and some were really demanding. So we went to the biggest film studio in Poland and rented some of the costumes.
Fairweather Manor is about emotions, it's about society, and it's about how we fake and how we use a mask to behave in society. It is a melodrama at the end, so all we want to talk about, or one of the main themes, will be the deep emotions that go underneath a very contempt and polite or well-behaved behavior.
For me, Fairweather Manor is a lot about the small things. It's about the gestures, the looks, what kind of word I'm using, but it's also a lot about hierarchies and a changing world, and about being proud of your work and just look into another world for a little while.
I think it's a very light LARP. I mean, it's in terms of, like I say, I think that the people that were really immersed and actually kind of had a very hard time of it were the servants, and observing them all the time, you saw that there was at one point a kind of shutter came down, and they all, I think, felt very demoralised and kind of gave up, but had to just do their duty. And it was a very big difference from the kind of the 2015 people who came in to kind of play at servants, and the people that today were walking around and the hierarchies were working, and the head butler was keeping an eye on everybody, and everybody, all the footmen were standing there, like looking for any little movement from the nobles and an empty glass, and that's in a way really kind of fascinating and cool, and in a way it's shocking and it's kind of quite horrible, really.
I played Miss Lucy Anderson. She was a chambermaid who got promoted to assistant housekeeper before the LARP ended. I felt really safe to start with. Well, half of the point is maybe for somebody to feel inferior, but for me it's about having the control of the situation. If I would like to opt out, I could opt out at any time, and I never for a second doubted that I had the possibility to do whatever I wanted, just opt out of every single situation I would be uncomfortable in, which encouraged me more to do things, because I always knew that I could back off if I wasn't comfortable. So I had a great experience.
Brings you back to more profoundly to history, and this is set in 1914, and if we really were here in about a year's time, probably half of the men, both servants and nobles, would be dead. Certainly in 3 years a lot of them would be dead. In about 20 years maybe most of the kind of noble families would be bankrupt through the Great Depression, and then in another 30 years after the Second World War you would have found the next generation would be dead. And that actually, this feeling of which it does feel kind of quite big, a little bit oppressive. So you got this, like the actual cast itself, and then the weight of history made it actually quite an emotional LARP. But in terms of the kind of social changes and disasters that would have come afterwards, so.
I feel splendid. I like all the experience that we have had. We are treated as kings in this wonderful castle. And there's a wonderful crew that is taking a lot of care of us. And the rest of the players, I would say that LARP is about people, and it's about exploring social interactions.
I feel very happy and fulfilled. I feel like it went very, very well. Had the sort of experience that I wanted. So I'm quite satisfied.
Well, you're putting it nicely. I'm out in the skies of excitement and joy, and it just like I had such a great experience, so I'm just like that. And yeah, you're laughing, but that's how I feel. It was just like totally amazing. What a roller coaster ride, actually.
Wonderful ride, ups and downs, a roller coaster of emotion.
Very, very tired. My feet hurt, but I had the marvelous experience that so many nice co-LARPers and organizers and helpers that made this experience wonderful.
To be honest, it's kind of mixed. I still feel I'm half into my character and I'm still half myself. So, I mean, it's always a bit confusing, but right now it's a mix of actual happiness because the LARP was actually amazing, and I mean a lot of sadness as well because it's always difficult to leave a part of yourself that you left in your character. So yeah, just mixed emotions, but I mean still brilliant.